Hi, everyone. I am, again, about to show you and invite you into the world of another Half Centenarian. You can't go wrong when you're watching this show because these are all phenomenal people. Not male, not female, just Half Centenarians doing their thing. We're going to go in here and talk to Miss Fitzpatrick, B. Fitz, as she likes to call herself, and we are on our way in to introduce you to this next phenomenal Half Centenarian. See you in a second. Oh my gosh, we just had our wonderful concert. I hope that we can kind of share a little bit of that, but
we got our worship on.
We got our worship on, yes. So we are ready.
It's a great way to start this, right?
It's a great way to start when we are talking to wonderful people doing wonderful things. I am so excited to be here with you, Miss Belinda. B, as you're, you like to be called
queen.
The queen. I know that, yes. Speaking of Queen Bee, someone said that they had that on the brain earlier, but we're going to just keep going.
There you go.
So I know so many great things about you, but before we even dive into all of that, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. Let's talk a little bit about, who you are, your, past, not, recent past, and some things about you that you'd like to share to get started.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you. This has been really special already. And obviously, to start off with, I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. I'm a child of God. And that's first and foremost. Mm-hmm. I'm a wife and a mother. My husband and I have one surviving child. Mm-hmm. He is an 18-year-old sophomore at Georgia Tech. My husband and I have been married for 21 years, and you already have heard a lot about him. Mm-hmm. Integrity, character, engineer, super smart, and just an amazing support system for me, mm-hmm. and a great partner. Just lots of, we call it the Fitz team. We're the Fitz team.
How nice. We go Fitz team. That's good. Yes, Fitz team.
I am an entrepreneur. And I started my own recruiting company a number of years ago, incorporated here in Georgia, and fell in love with a product that changed my life. And so I incorporated a little side gig, mm-hmm. which I wasn't expecting to do two entrepreneurship businesses myself at the same time, but I incorporated a little side gig and started down this wonderful adventure and have found my tribe.
Nice.
Some of us take a little longer to find our tribe.
Well, you know what? On your journey to Half Centenarianism, so you can tell us a little bit about that too. Like, how old are you?
I'm 59.
Look at you. Oh my gosh. You
soon to be 60.
Oh,
60's not so bad, right?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Let me just tell you that. We are all about showcasing beauty and showcasing go-getters, and that's why you are here.
Thank you.
You have just laid a foundation for what we're going to be talking about, but when I tell you, I would have never said that you're about to be or 59, about to be 60. Let me just say that. So there's some really, really nice things about you that kind of got you to this place when you say, sometimes it takes us longer than others, but as we say as Christians, you know what, everything is always on time. So,
it is.
The thing that happens in your life kind of just, they have that statement that says life is lived forward but understood backwards.
Yes.
So tell us how some of the steps you've taken to get here.
Well, I started out as a Army brat, mm-hmm. and we moved, I think, 13 times by the time I was 11.
Wow.
Had the distinct pleasure, what an experience, to live in the jungles of Thailand. Wow. My mother had to teach us school because there were no schools.
Wow.
And my father, with his very, very dark skin and jet black hair, fit in very well with the Thai military. It was actually during the Vietnam War. And so it was impossible to tell who the American was mm-hmm. embedded in the Thai army. So that was, but we lived in the jungle. My mom taught us school, and I was quite the tomboy. My older brother, was my best friend. We played Army, of course.
Of course.
What else are you going to play?
Right.
And Tarzan. We were in the jungle.
Very appropriate.
What else are you going to do? And so we lived mostly around the South. After coming back, we lived throughout the South, California, and then throughout the South of the U.S. Mm-hmm. And then when I was 19, I got to live in Italy for a year.
That's nice.
It was an amazing adventure.
Right.
And so I do have 2 degrees, but kind of my mantra was I would work mm-hmm. and go to school and work and go to school, but I never let school get in the way of a good adventure. So
That's a nice mantra right there. Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to finish school, so I did end up getting 2 degrees in business administration and entrepreneurship, and then went to work for other people, and met my husband here in Atlanta, and I did not expect to live in Atlanta, but here we are, 22 years later.
But it's been beneficial for you. You got a lot of great things out of this Georgia ride. So I do want to say this. You kind of gave us a real good synopsis, kind of a short, condensed version of how you ended up here. There are some things that have happened in your life that I think are so important to share, just because everyone has a story. Everyone has that, major and minors. I think there's some real majors that you've enjoyed over your, progress through life. And I would love for you to share some of those with us right now.
Well, I think the thing that a lot of people remember, and it's funny, I haven't shared this very often, but a lot of people remember that I was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader in 1986-87. And that was a great experience, but I also was acting at the time, and you give up everything for that. You have to be full-time employed or a full-time student, or you can be a full-time mom and be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Okay. But I gave up all of my other interests, and I was actually, I did oil and gas recruiting. I had my Series 63 and 22 in the state of Texas, and so I did oil and gas brokering many years ago while I was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
But that's so interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was fun. So oil and gas broker by day, and a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader on the weekends and at night during rehearsals. And it's funny because the director now is someone that I cheered with. Her name then was Kelly McGonigal, and it's now Kelly McGonigal Finglass. Nice. And she's now the director of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So that was fun, but I didn't want to continue doing it because I had other adventures to go forward.
But a nice blip in your life to say, you know what, I was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and then I went on to do other things.
Yes.
Not many of us have the chance to say things like, we have things that we did and then we went on to do other things. But I think there's a lot of men out here going, what? I think I remember her. So that is an awesome, I guess, a placeholder for you in your life. Let's just say that, something that you can kind of say.
Just a mile marker on the journey.
Like that. Mile marker. That's a mile marker on your way to wherever you were going.
Yes. And
that would be here. Yes. So then my question to you first was, who are you? You gave us a lot of information about that. You have a son, you're a mom, you are Team Fitz, and that's been really, really a powerful part of you being a Christian, because you and your husband are a powerful team.
Yes.
So then my next thing is, so my second primary question to you, and you kind of take this and roll with it as well. What is your, why are you here? I don't like to use the word purpose, but why are you here, and what gives you the vibrancy about your life?
Well, obviously, as a recruiter, I did niche recruiting in the senior living industry, so directors and marketing directors, business office managers, dining, nursing, the executive level. And I cared so much about putting the right person in the right position so that their personality matched the culture that they were going to be working in. That was so important to make that Right Fits. That was the name of the company, Right Fits Strategic Staffing.
Okay, you snuck that in there. Okay.
So
Right Fits?
Right Fits, F-I-T-Z.
Gotcha.
And so that was very important to me. And when this, about 3 years ago, I had a little period of where I just fell into a very dark pit of sadness. And it was very unexpected because I'm a very positive person, and I figured I could just pray my way out of it. And I just kept sinking deeper and deeper. And I think before then, I really didn't understand what people went through who were going through depression.
Gotcha.
And I might have been a little judgy, unfortunately. I think I may have been. And
that's complete honesty. I like that.
well, you know what? There's no judgment now there, because I could not pray my way out of it. And the doctor wanted to put me on antidepressants. I had chronic headaches that would put me in a dark room for days. And I kept packing on the pounds. And no matter what I did, I could not lose weight. And at that time, also working my recruiting company, getting out of bed was a challenge. But I had a friend who was doing something with happy products. And I just was skeptical that something natural and plant-based could like transform her family's lives. Like she said, her life with anxiety and her daughter's lives with ADHD and anxiety. And I just thought, I'm gonna watch. So I watched for 4 months and sank deeper into that pit. And I finally said, all right, last ditch effort, because the doctor wanted me to go on antidepressants. And I know that's a choice for some people, that they need to make that choice, but I wanted to avoid the side effects. So I just reached out to her and said, I'm willing to give this a chance. And I got the product, and on day 4, it was like that darkness lifted off of me, and I could feel hope, where before I felt hopeless, except for Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I could feel hope that I was not going to feel this way. And then I noticed that I didn't have a single headache after I started the product. And it took me a little while to realize that. I still have the package of prescription meds for the headaches that 3 years. I haven't
So it's been 3 years.
Almost.
Okay.
And then the weight started falling off me, and I lost 54 pounds.
Applaud you.
And
insert applause. Okay.
And I'm not talking about going to the gym and killing myself, where before, and I've eaten clean for years and gluten-free for years, very healthy, and I could not lose weight.
Couldn't do it.
And I'd deprive myself, and then I'd be jealous of my husband and my son that are eating the sweets, and I'd be jealous of what they could eat. And then with the happy products, I didn't miss it.
And they're called happy products, right?
They are happy products.
And so let me just say, I'm sipping a happy juice right now, but a lemonade. I'm sipping lemonade with the happy product in it, and I'm telling you now, I'm so alert. And I'm not saying that because I'm not normally alert, but it's something about it that's I can't explain it. It's kind of like if I were to put it into words, I don't want to embellish, you know what I'm saying? So I do feel this sense of something, you know, like a clarity.
Yes.
And that's what that's a better word for me to think about, right? Clarity, focus, that's right. So this has been really, really cool. So I just wanted you to continue with that because you're also drinking your happy coffee.
Yes, that's what I started with, was happy coffee and the supplement. And they help your body naturally produce its own dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So that's DOSE, so they call it dose.
Right.
And when you take the supplement with a beverage, you get your full dose, which there are no hormones in the product. It helps your body, it stimulates your body to produce your own natural hormones at an even keel level. So you shouldn't feel jittery. It should just make you feel very alert and focused. And it should make you feel good.
So let me ask you this. So you're 59 now.
Yes.
And we're talking about how you get here with the pep in your step and all of that. So we know Happy Products got you here. And you said that's been about 3 years, right?
Coming up on it, yes.
Coming up on 3. So you were still a Half Centenarian when all of this, you know, the changes started happening negatively and positively.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you would attribute that to getting you back to a place where you felt even keel. You know, hormonally you were much better.
Yes.
Nice.
Happy, focused, energized, alert, motivated. Whereas getting out of bed was a huge issue, but because we, especially women, put on this mask of okayness. I'm okay, and work it through. We're gonna
we just push through. Just you know, don't ask me how I'm feeling because I'm good.
Right.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Thank you.
I'm okay. Yeah, we
Yes.
all do that because it's so hard to admit I'm struggling, but especially with what we've been through with the pandemic.
Yeah, that's another
A lot
good.
of people are struggling, and that's what I feel like these products have done for me. They brought me back and gave me hope, and I never went on antidepressants. I have not had any of the headache prescriptions since I started on the products. To me, that's hope,
Yeah.
and then that makes me excited, and that's become my mission and kind of my ministry to share with other people about how something natural and plant-based can help them. And honestly, I closed my recruiting company in 2020 and started focusing only on happy products because it's about people's health and happiness.
Right. So you were not even anticipating doing anything like that. You already had your company. You were an
Right.
entrepreneur already.
Right.
So you were so gangbusters about it.
Yes.
Like it really worked really well, so much so that you are now doing what with the company?
Well, now it's all e-commerce. So what are we doing now? We're buying from Amazon.
Absolutely.
We're buying from Walmart.com and Target and having things delivered. I think Starbucks has lost a lot of money. Well, I was a Starbucks snob. And I told my husband I would try this coffee for 6 days and see if I felt. I didn't get that way in 6 days. I don't know why I thought 6 days was going to tell me all I needed to know about the product. But for me, it did. It started working on day 4.
So my goal today, like I hear the enthusiasm about it, and we're not here to promote any part of that part. I wanted you to tell us what gives you that pep, and that it's so recent. I didn't even realize that it was just in 2020 that all of this has happened for you. But it's so important that we realize that as half centenarians, I'm talking about people living their best lives, but there are times in our life that we go through things. There are times in our life, and I'm so thankful that you're transparent about, you know what, I hit a dark spot. I was up, and then I was down, and then I was down, and then I couldn't get up. You know, I needed some help, and so this helped you do that. So this is what we're talking about right now. The things that we deal with as half centenarians, women, you know, you mentioned that as well. It is important that we are sitting and talking about those things that are affecting us as women, as people, you know, and those are things that's part of that. So you came out on the other side with something that was a natural part for you, a natural support for you. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you for sharing that part of your story, because people watching and people that know someone who may be going through something like that, it's important that we help one another, because 2020 showed us again, there's a lot we're going through in private, and there's a lot that we're going through by ourselves. And so when you're sharing that about something that you can drink that's natural, and that it helped you get to where you wanted to be, not to mention, we can lose 53 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you need to.
Yeah.
If you want to, it will help
We can lose
support
some
that.
weight.
If you don't need to, it's not going to knock a donut out of your hand.
Right.
So
as we kind of think about the second question, there's so much that you just mentioned to us about, you know, what gives you the pep in your step. Could be your coffee, could be your husband, could be your son, could be, you know, all the things you've done in your life. And I would definitely not want to leave without you sharing just one small thing that I heard that was really, I thought was a really another nice blip on your life screen was the Mrs. Alabama.
Oh, well, it's so funny because my mom, my parents used to live in Alabama, and so did I, and they now live in Georgia, right next to my sister. But she recommended that I try this just out of the blue. And so again, I always think, what can I learn from a situation?
Right.
And so I took a chance and learned what I needed to learn, because I didn't know anything about doing a pageant. And I think being authentic and real is probably what got me the title, Mrs. Alabama. Because I'd never done a pageant before, that I didn't have, because I think there are things that you learn to do if you do pageants. I don't know. So, and again, it was an interesting experience. It was a good experience for me, and just another little mile marker on my roadmap.
I love
to
the
where
humility. Let me just say that.
Aw.
It's a little mile marker. I was Miss Alabama. Oh, mile marker. I was a Dallas Cowboy child. Just a little time in my life that I had a chance to just stop off in some place and do something huge. It's okay.
But don't you think we all have different gifts? So, I know some of your gifts just having talked to you on the phone and having met you. And so for me, I think my strongest gift is gift of encourager.
Yeah.
Also, I hope leader and teacher. I come from some academia too, like you do. But I think that when we find our gifting, where we can use our gifting, and like I said, encouraging others and self-development, I think that is huge. And one of the things that I wish I learned at a young age is called failing forward.
Forward, yes. Good one.
Don't be ashamed if you fail, because every person's story or every those blips, those mile markers to success, every person's journey to success is just that, is paved with failures.
Absolutely.
And they wouldn't have gotten there without that. So what you do is you fail forward. You fail, you learn from it, shake it off, and keep moving forward. Don't be embarrassed. I think for so many years as a child, I was so ashamed if I failed at something, so I just wouldn't try.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
something clicked where I was like, okay, I'm gonna work for it, and if I work hard enough, I can do it. And having that kind of belief in yourself. I don't think you can just wish things, but you can work for things.
Right.
And if you dedicate yourself towards your endeavor, then more than likely, if that's not what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to learn along the way what you are supposed to do. So fail forward, don't be embarrassed, shake it off, and keep learning. Keep climbing that, fail up.
Yeah.
So keep learning. If you fail forward, that means you're failing up and you're heading towards some goal, some specific goal. And, to me, that's success is just each step of the way. It's not when you finally get there.
That's a good point.
It's who you meet along the way.
Yes, it's who you meet. And you never kind of end. There's never a stopping point. When you were talking just now, what I got from that, excuse me, is that those were just things that were getting you to the next thing. But your pride seems to be more in what you have accomplished afterwards. Because of that, because of those great things, you met great people, you had great experiences.
Yes.
It wasn't that you were like, oh yeah, I was Miss Alabama, but let me just tell you, and it just, I like that it may look like this to me, I'm an outsider, but for you, that was on your way to doing something else, doing something better, doing something bigger. And that's really a great viewpoint to have about it, because everybody looking at other people on the outside might assume that that's the end result for them, but they're like, you know what, I'm on my way to the next thing. And so that's really, I just wanted to say thank you for kind of pushing back on that with me, because I might have had the whole idea of that being like, this is a major monumental part of your life, and you're like, girl, no. No.
Next.
Yeah, onward,
Yes.
So that's really nice for you to capture that, because we need to remember that. And you, like you mentioned, as you get older, we're talking to people that are not a half centenarian right now, or possibly are, keep pushing, keep going, keep moving forward, because you never know where that's going to take you. That might be the end you think it is, but it might be the next thing coming after that. Just keep pushing forward, because you never know. So the last thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about, or ask you about rather, is how do you think now, after all of the great things that you've just shared with us, what about those things, or your current situation, is helping you, what we have coined now as living your best life?
Goodness. I think part of our being able to live our best life is the ability not to compare ourselves to anybody else, because all of our journeys are so unique and different. And Louis Giglio was talking about comparison at Passion City Church, and he talked about, it robs you of joy, and it makes you feel like your uniqueness is not special.
Right.
And it is. We're all uniquely made and uniquely special. And he said, if you are so busy comparing yourself, you're going to miss your next step, because you're so busy looking at their last step. That you miss your next step.
Good point.
And so I think, especially as women and as aging women, We don't need to be comparing ourselves to anyone else because each of our journey is so unique and different. And like I said, we all have different giftings. And if I'm focused on you and your amazing gifts instead of focusing on my gifts that I need to be using every day to encourage, support, uplift, edify other women especially who may be going through a hard time. Maybe they're hitting menopause. Maybe they don't feel as useful as because they've lost some of that youthfulness.
Yes.
We don't become less useful just because we're less youthful.
I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Less useful because I become less youthful.
Right.
Girl.
No, I think
that's my takeaway today.
We are the sum of our experiences, but you don't look back, you look forward.
Yes.
Use them for your forward vision. Because, what are we going to miss if we're busy looking in the rearview mirror?
Everything that's ahead.
That's right.
Everything. And everyone and every opportunity.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And there are so many opportunities, like the opportunity to meet you.
You're right. No, I'm just kidding. You would have never met me. I feel, those of you who haven't, no, I'm just kidding.
Get ready. You should. And the before party is great. I can hardly wait for the after party.
That's right, yes. We had a serious concert in here, and it was, see, that's why I love this, because meeting people like you and just sharing great wisdom nuggets, let's just call it that. The wisdom nuggets. Those are just, we live in silos. And I started this journey by saying, we're doing great things in silos. We need to be sharing and applauding one another. Had it not been for another great Half Centenarian, I would never have had the opportunity to meet you.
Right.
And
I've got a long list for you to meet.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. So
y'all get ready.
Yes. Because you have just shown me, and I've listened to what you've said, thinking one way about your previous accomplishments that I'd heard about, like that was the thing for you. And now you've shown me, Marla, that was getting me to where I am today. And that's really what I want to say is keep failing forward. Do what you have to do to get to the next thing. And the final thing that I want to say is you are not useful because you are not as youthful. I'm walking with that. That's going to be on my next shirt.
I love it.
It is. I'm getting a t-shirt. I'm getting a cup with that on it because that, even though we know that to be true, sometimes we need to hear that. And for anyone who's listening, I just want to say thank you so much for that. And anything that you want to think about or share before you leave that could be a final thought for who you are, what you share, what you bring to the table, I welcome that.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share. I love the fact that you are highlighting women's stories. Half Centenarians, Half Centenarians. Sorry,
and men,
and men too. Men too. My lists are all ladies.
That's okay. Most times when I do that, but we are going to keep going. Well, I was going to say we'll get some men on here.
Yeah, and you should. I think what you're doing is amazing. And this has been, you've given me a gift to be here, not just to share my story, but to get to know you and who you are and this amazing crew you've got sitting around here.
That's my tribe.
Yeah, that's your tribe. And they're
good people.
They're learning from you. Look what you're doing for them.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, you're opening up new worlds with every person you interview. You're opening up new worlds to them. And then they're making their milestones. This is one of their milestones.
This is one of their blips on their screen. Even though we don't have music and we don't get posted.
Get some music going.
Hold on. Don't get me started now. Don't get the party started just yet. But we are going to salute and I guess we're going to have a concert on the way out of here. But I just wanted to tell you, this has been so cool. This has been so much fun.
Thank you.
A fellow Half Centenarian, a fellow Christian woman in the fight, mom, entrepreneur.
And I just want to say to any women who are looking that find your tribe. Very important that we support each other. Find people who lift you up and edify you, encourage you, and be that for other women. I like the women that straighten up our crowns. If it's crooked, instead of talking about it or knocking it off, let's support each other. Let's give that gift of encouragement and edification. What you have a story to tell. Everybody's story is important, and you need to learn how to share your story with other people, because it matters not just to your family, but what you've been through may impact other people who hear your story, and you may have a lasting impact on someone just because you chose to share your story. It could be to a friend, it could be to a neighbor, it could be to Marla. But share your story. We are, like she said, we're living in silos, and we can reach so many other people when we reach outside that silo and learn about each other, communicate. Community, collaboration, communication. Let's do this.
Let the church say,
Amen.
Hi, Half Centenarians. We are here in Atlanta, Georgia. We were just in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, Louisiana. Who knows where we will be next? That's totally up to you. We are so excited to bring these wonderful people and Half Centenarians into your homes. And hey, you can subscribe to YouTube and see every Thursday a new episode. Also, I want you to remember to send 3 names of people who are influencing you. Hey, it could be you. It could be you. I would love to sit down and talk to those people, talk to you. Let's get things rolling. Let's remember, we're living in silos, but we want to share our information with everyone. So excited. It has been my pleasure to bring these wonderful people to you. I look forward to seeing you, speaking with you, and sharing. Be safe. Be careful. I'll see you soon.